I don't think this work can be done without truly, truly defining equity and pushing for it very explicitly. If we were to recruit from that 1%, right, that elite, that successful group that has gotten to university here in Haiti, for me, it reinforces the illusion of meritocracy. It reinforces this illusion that says that those who are able to achieve at the highest levels of academic success are those who are best equipped and best prepared to lead a cultural revolution. And at the end of the day, that's incorrect. At the end of the day, there are systems in place here in Haiti and in many different countries to specifically keep those who will disrupt, undo, dismantle oppression down. And so if we were to only focus on recruiting among those who get into the 1% of universities, we are sending a very powerful message there, that all those that don't get into that top echelon are inferior, that they are not equipped to lead their own liberation. We're basically saying that if you haven't achieved X definition of status, X definition of professional success, you are not worthy of your own dignity and fighting for your own freedom. And that is so dangerous because it's replicating the violence with which oppressive structures are created. I actually truly believe that we need to be very careful about what's strategic just so that the ends justify the means, right? Instead of doing the really hard work of understanding that if your belief doesn't align with the action, why are we doing this work? I worry that when we talk about those who have experienced the inequity leading this fight, it's not about saying we've heard one voice, we now know what it looks like. We've been to one community, we now know what poverty looks like. We're looking for that one voice who can inform us, and then we'll just kind of go on our merry way because we've been informed. Coming in and saying, here is the way, here is the key, here is the definition of academic success. That is not the solution forward. We need to look inward to push forward because it is the people who are in this context and in our communities and those who have experienced inequity who have the solution already. We believe that our communities will lead the way. Not our staff, not a founder, not a mission statement, but that our communities already have the solution, but they've just been relegated to an inferior position. And I think if we are so quick to jump to this idea of collective leadership of the community, of leadership that transforms a society, and we forget to invest in the very human beings who are telling us what authentic leaders look like, we're going to be skipping several steps and we're not going to be creating true equity. We're basically looking for a definition that doesn't exist. We're looking for things that have not yet been written down because the people who have the solutions and have these definitions haven't been empowered or allowed to have a seat at the table. There is inherent urgency in fighting for and within your community. I have spoken with so many of our teacher leaders at Anseye Pou Ayiti who feel that if they slip, if they are not giving their all, if their commitment is not where it should be, it's not the kids who fail. They are themselves failing because they consider themselves as members of that community. There's a sense of attachment there. When you live in that community and are raised in that community, you're now fighting for it. And so I'm grateful that we have teacher leaders who have been raised and are now working in the communities because their sense of urgency is through the charts. It is a sense of urgency that has no boundaries and it has no deadlines. It's not going to end with a 2-year program, but it's been that fire within them even before Anseye Pou Ayiti was there. We are just unleashing what they've already been born to do. At Anseye Pou Ayiti, we believe deeply in allyship. Like we actually don't use that word lightly. Partner, I think, can come and go and can have so many different definitions, but to be an ally of a movement, I think, has become overlooked. The power of it has become overlooked. And so for those who are the privileged few, I think there is a role to play in terms of being collaborators and allies of this movement, but not getting in the way of those who are driving this forward and are equipped to drive it forward because they are coming from the very roots and the very essence of what we need for true liberation. And so I think the privileged few, I think there's a lot of work that needs to be done in terms of self-discovery and the idea of how privilege and how internalized oppression has even shaped their own path. But at the end of the day, I actually think there's an incredible power in being part of the coalition for movement. I would say you are kind of like the outer boundary of this movement that's basically making it possible for those who've experienced the inequity to move forward without hindrance, right? Because you can navigate and cross through certain contexts that those who've experienced inequity will never be able to get through. So how are you unlocking doors and just moving aside so that somebody who's experienced inequity can walk through? How are you doing certain actions, saying some words, taking certain risks, leaving behind certain relationships so that those who've experienced inequity can lead from within.